This is the Zero DS, and I think it's the dog's bollocks. I'm Mark from Urban E-Bikes, the place to go for everything transport two wheels that's electric. I hope you give us a look up. Today we're going to talk about the amazing Zero DS, a bike which I've had good fortune to ride over the last week and really get to know and love. So look, without further ado, let's jump straight in. If I may, I'm just going to quickly get the bad features out of the way because there are so many good features. I don't want us to get distracted by it. So I'm just going to start with a couple of things which hit me from day one, which I initially thought wasn't amazing, but you know what, as time goes on, I really don't care. But firstly, the fact it's got halogen indicators and halogen headlamps. A bit strange on such a high-tech bike, but do you know what? I can live with it. And the money has gone elsewhere and it's gone in the right places. Rather minimal security, so all you have on this bike is a steering lock and a rather old-school key. Compared to many other bikes we sell, this is really low rent because the other bikes have built-in alarms, immobilizers or intelligent keys. But again, it doesn't faze me because there's so many other good areas about this bike. The minimal tech on this bike. This isn't a bike really about tech, though it has got tech, and some of the tech's actually really very, very good. But yeah, don't look for too much in the way. It does have built-in Bluetooth, but the Bluetooth doesn't do a great deal, if I'm honest about it, and it's a little bit flaky. But it's there if you need it, and you do have an app, so you can monitor things that you can't normally monitor. And something else that comes if you buy the bike vanilla without any extras is the slow recharge time, but that we will cover. There is a good reason why it recharges slowly because of the big battery, but as it comes out of the box without any extras, the recharge time is rather long, like 9 hours, which is massive. And the general lack of stowage capability, there's no grab rails or anything to strap stuff to. So again, when you're going out, you might want to think about speccing some kind of grab rail or a rack for this. And now for the next bit, we're going to go into the fantastic positive features about the bike. And there are lots to cover and lots of good fantastic features. So I often start from the front and work back. It's just my way of going through things. Firstly, if we just step back of the bike, let's just look at the bike. Let's just look at it. It is absolutely amazing to look at. What a nice looking bike. There's nothing about this bike which is gaudy or plasticky. I mean, of course, it's got plenty of plastic on it, but it hasn't got weird fake bits. It's just what it is. It's a great looking bike, and it's very much a case function over form, but it happens to look nice as well. Well done, Zero, for getting that right. Love the brakes. Brakes are made by J. Juan from Spain, apparently. Very clever brakes. They're not radially mounted, but you know, they work amazingly. Large diameter, spiderless mounted disc brake. Only one of them, but because it's large and it's directly mounted on the wheel, you get not only low unsprung weight, but also absolutely amazing brake feel, coupled with the span adjustable brake lever, which I think should be standard on all bikes. You can ride this bike covering the brakes safely, and you can get a nice firm grip on it, though in fact you can, I don't know about stoppy, but I've never needed more than 2 fingers to actually stop this bike. Suspension. On the Zero DS you have fully adjustable front and rear shock absorbers, and by that they mean compression damping, rebound damping and preload, both front and rear. So you can set the bike up to be exactly as you want it when you're riding. And I've set this bike up so it delivers a nice plush ride, which is what I personally like. I really hate crashy rides. Tyres. Many electric bikes you buy on the road have got something from China which you probably wouldn't want to put your knee down and wear any leather away. On the Zero, no cheap rent, Pirelli tyres. They may not be my cup of tea for road use, but this is meant to be a dual sport bike, so it's got dual sport tyres. The road version comes with road focused tyres, but again, decent tyres which you can depend on. No need to upgrade them from new. Weatherproofing. None of these machines are designed to be dunked in water, but something that really irritates me on some modern motorbikes these days is the front just seems to be begging for problems with radiators and bits all exposed to the water and the rain. The great thing about the Zero, the front is fully sealed, so the electrics are behind the plastic front wall, and that way you know that when you ride this in winter, your electronics are not getting jet washed as you ride. Again, clever stuff. The headlamp unit is all sealed and aerodynamic. It may only be in a halogen headlamp. However, it's been very well designed, and the reflector really does a great job, and you get a fantastic beam pattern on the road. If it was my bike, I would probably upgrade that to something like an HID, laws permitting, but not bad for a halogen bulb. So where does your money go on this bike? Well, let's have a look. Some of the rear drive on this bike, again, clever. Your money's gone on a proper Gates carbon drive, tooth rubber belt drive, which gives you certainly greaseless maintenance. The only maintenance required really is washing that, keeping it clean, silent and smooth. So again, very nice to have that on there. And of course, very importantly, around here, we have the amazing 11 kilowatt peak, sorry, not a peak, I beg your pardon, 11 kilowatt nominal motor. It's actually got a peak power of over 50 kilowatts, which makes this bike incredibly learn illegal. You can ride this on a CVT, but it is not to be confused with any other 125 on the market. It's very similar to ride in terms of feel and performance to a 700cc parallel twin, maybe something like an MT-07, and it's got the torque. I actually looked it up. It delivers and generates similar torque to my Triumph 1050. So it's got ballistic torque, fantastic performance, but it is electrically limited to 86 miles an hour, of which we tested that on a runway, and it literally is limited, but it gets to 86 miles an hour like that. The battery, 14.4 kilowatt hours, 12.6 kilowatt hours of which are usable, but they've declared that. Again, this is way bigger than anything else out there. There are very few other bikes that have got batteries as big, maybe a couple of very exotic ones, and that's not as large as it can go. You can elect for the optional 3 kilowatt hour power tank, which will give you a bit more range, but we'll come on to that in a sec, because maybe that's not an option that I would choose. I would probably choose the optional charge tank, which gives you fast charge capability to bring the 9 hours charge down to about 2, which makes going out for a bit of a cruise in a day viable, because that way you can stop for some dinner and a coffee and stuff for 2 hours and get it charged up. 9 hours, a bit too long. So really, if you go for the if you go for the power tank, you'll have 3 kilowatts plus 12.6 kilowatt hour usable charge time, which brings your charging to 11 hours, which means that you're never going to charge this while you're out for the day. Another good feature on this that I didn't mention on the brakes, again, the Chinese bikes out there, you'll get this so-called link braking system. Not on here. You've got conventional motorcycle brakes backed up by Bosch anti-lock braking system, proper anti-lock brakes. So that's where your money's going. Fantastic motor, fantastic battery, 5-year warranty on it, and real Bosch ABS anti-lock brakes. For a powerful bike, the riding dynamics of this bike are absolutely sublime. It is wonderful to ride. The lack of sloshing fuel means that when you're in traffic, despite it being a fairly hefty bike, it's extremely easy to balance this. In fact, I almost forget to put my feet down sometimes because it feels that stable. Also, again, I'm not into the science of this, but it could be because of the lack of spinning and reciprocating mass on the bike, changing direction on this bike is just really easy. It sounds strange to say, but I notice when I go out with my friends and we're flicking through the lanes, etc., I just leave them behind because it's just so easy to ride this bike quickly through a bend and change direction and change velocity. You can go from one speed to another almost instantaneously thanks to the torque, and then reduce it back again thanks to the regenerative braking coupled with the excellent brakes themselves. Easy bike, very easy bike to ride. Something else which I really respect on this bike is the throttle response. I've ridden many electric bikes now, and some of them, quite a few of them, suffer from a very notchy digital throttle control. Not on this bike. This responds like the best fueled carburetted bike you've ever ridden in your life. Incredibly easy to ride at low speed, down to a walking pace or slower, with the knowledge that when you whip the throttle open, you'll just be off like lightning. I can ride this in traffic safely in sport mode, which gives you full power. Again, I've ridden many other electric bikes which are way less powerful than this, and they're almost impossible to ride at 20 miles an hour consistently because of the on-off throttle position. So in conclusion, I hear a lot of people ask what I miss and don't miss about riding a petrol bike. So I've written a few things down here. So I don't miss the noise. Surprised me, but I genuinely don't miss the motorbike noise. I don't miss changing gear or the clutch. I just don't miss it. I thought I would, but no, I'm quite happy not to change gear. And on this particular bike, I don't miss the range, because this has got very respectable range. I've tested this bike, genuine, real world, and I'm not talking about 30, I'm talking about riding it at 50 with some sprints up to its top, well, maybe close to its top speed on the runway. I'm getting 100 miles range out of this quite comfortably. If you were to ride this gingerly through town, etc., you're looking at 150. And one thing I would say is do look at the Zero's website, because their figures are genuinely true. I've verified them, they're true. The only thing I miss is the refuel time. So it's the ability to nip into a garage and quickly top up with petrol. You can't do that with this. You've either got to spend 9 hours waiting for it as configured to recharge, or, well, I'm not sure what else. So the only the extra I would certainly consider with this bike is the charge tank, just to cut down the charging time when you're out. And again, when people say that this bike is too expensive, firstly, too expensive compared to what? If you're comparing this to other electric bikes, it isn't too expensive, because you can quickly see where the money goes. If you buy a £5,000 e-bike, it will have a battery of at least a third of the size. The motor will be probably 4 times less powerful, and it will not have ABS. It will not have the warranty of this bike. it won't have the riding dynamics, it won't have the suspension. So it's not too expensive. It's actually very, very cleverly engineered. And in fact, there is a good reason why no one from China makes a bike like this. And I know it for a fact because I've had two people now come in from various Chinese factories. The Chinese can't make this bike of this quality and spec for its price. If they made one like a Zero, it would be at least zero money. So good job, Zero, made in America, wonderful piece of kit. Try one at one of our showrooms. This is a demonstrator. We've also got the S model as well. Have a go and be hooked. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the bike if you buy it.